What's going on, guys? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I am bringing you a kind of different upload than what I've done in the past, and this is going to be a continuation of our series on the Triforce tournament that we recently entered on Smogon. We being me, Styx, and Joseph, and Styx is joining me today. He can go ahead and say hello formally now if he wants to.
Hello, formally.
And Vic is also in the background as the peanut gallery,
I'm
probably going to make some unrelated comments throughout the video, so you can be looking forward to that. So before I jump into this battle, if you haven't already seen the match posted by Styx, which was actually our only round 1 match from this tournament.
That's why we advanced.
That's why we advanced, because Styx won, yay, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check that out. It will be a link in the description below, and I would highly advise you watch that before continuing forward in this game. Anyways, before we jump into my battle, I wanted to go over the team a little bit because I haven't posted a Gen 4 match, I don't think, in the history of the channel. Am I right on that? Besides the Pokemon Coliseum match?
I wouldn't know.
Long time ago.
I joined in Gen 6.
Okay then, so yeah, I haven't posted a Gen 4 match before, so I wanted to kind of talk you through my main squad for DPP, and
it's disgusting.
It's disgustingly bulky, it's bulky offense, it's kind of what I do.
Torterra.
It loses to Torterra. Good thing I have Selby, it doesn't care. So the team, it's basically comprised of 3 cores, 2 defensive cores, and kind of a pseudo-offensive core. It's weird. But I always start off the team with Swampert because that was my favorite lead in Gen 4, and it's just going to be a standard.
No, it wasn't really a lead.
It's an amazing lead in Gen 4, thank you very much. It's great with Stealth Rock, Roar, Earthquake, and Ice Beam. It's able to serve as a good lead against pretty much everything that isn't Roserade. Roserade's obviously a problem since it is 4 times effective against me.
How does it fare against all the taunt users?
I beam them on the taunt.
Then they get
I break
rocks
the
up.
sash.
Then they get rocks up and you're still taunted.
Of course, it's going to happen.
That's suicide lead for you.
I'm not running a suicide lead. But yeah, against like Aerodactyls and such, I do just Ice Beam on the taunt and then switch into something accordingly. But I always like to pair Swampert with Tentacruel because Tentacruel does cover most of Swampert's weaknesses. It doesn't take the grass moves as well, but for things like Giga Drain, Liquid Ooze does handle it, decently well. And Toxic Spikes are just great support for any team, as well as Rapid Spin. So that's the bulky water core I like to bring. And then from there, I'd like to turn to a Celatran Scizor core, which was pretty common in DPP. Celebi, again, is kind of a defensive wall, in that Swampert is not able to take hits for days, as it doesn't have any recovery options outside of rest, which isn't really viable whatsoever. So I liked having Celebi as a secondary defensive option, both for its phasing capabilities and the fact that it's just able to eat up so many hits in DPP, as there's really only 3 counters to Celebi in DPP, and those are Heatran, Scizor, and Tyranitar, and Celebi is just able to pretty much wall out almost anything else in the tier. So it's a very nice mon to have on a bulky offense squad. Then I have Heatran, which is probably my most favorite mon on this team.
My most favorite.
My most favorite.
After his other favorite,
yes.
Swampert, and his other favorite, Celebi, and his 3rd favorite, Tentacruel.
Well, I love this team, it turns out. Anyway, Heatran is very good on this team. It outspeeds a Jolly Breloom by 1, and it's going to be able to dish out a big chunk of damage with Choice Specs, Overheat, Earth Power, Dragon Pulse, and Explosion for the annoying Blissey. And
I don't understand why it doesn't have a non-stat dropping fire move.
Well, it turns out the Overheat does a crap ton of damage.
Yes,
almost
once.
Anything. Once. And it turns out that that's all I need. I'm just saying. Anyways, Scizor is the next mon on the team, as it pairs well with Heatran and Celebi. And this is just a Swords Dance Roost set with a Life Orb, Bullet Punch, and Superpower, of course. And this is EV'd such that it outspeeds, I believe, a max speed Magnezone, which really wasn't terribly common in Gen 4, especially Choice Scarf Magnezone was not very common in Gen 4. So this is usually able to pick off Magnezones whenever they come in trying to threaten me, or trap me rather, and they just, die to the superpower. So that's kind of nice. And the last mon on my team is a Choice Scarf Flygon with Thunder Punch, because my team is pretty damn weak to Gyarados, and I need to make sure to keep that in check. So that's the team, and let's go ahead and jump over to the battle.
You know what, Jolt?
What?
I just noticed something. Your team, well, I mean, first, your team sucks. And second off, your team seems like it'd be a little less sucky if there was a Salamence instead of a Flygon.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with that. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because Salamence actually was on my team before it got banned whenever Platinum was released, whenever Draco Meteor became a thing. And yeah, I had to replace that slot with a Flygon, which just doesn't quite cut it like Salamence did. But I'm glad you mentioned that.
Explain that in a more scripted way, you guys.
Totally candid.
Totally candid. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually go into the battle after all of the rude intrusions by the Peanut Gallery next to me.
There's not much to look at.
There's not much to look at. Okay. Anyway, in DPP, there is no team preview, so whatever my lead is in my party is what the lead is in the battle, and I thought Swampert was the best lead for my team, and my opponent decides to lead off with a Machamp, which
That's
is
how
actually...
I accidentally led with Blissey one time.
Oh, really?
Blissey was the first slot in my party.
Blissey is a pretty terrible lead in DPP, if I remember correctly. But Machamp is actually kind of a rough lead matchup for Swampert because it does have access to Dynamic Punch, and it can really spam it pretty freely. And the fact that my luck is absolutely awful is going to make this kind of an issue as I get confused on turn 1. And I'm just going to...
Jolt got bodied.
I got bodied by hacks. It's amazing. So he's able to Dynamic Punch the Celebi coming in, and then I'm going to get confused as I try to go for a Leech Seed here.
Nah, he's just saying that.
I definitely went for Leech Seed on that turn. Leech Seed was the correct play in that situation, and now I'm going to go into my Tentacruel as it should be pretty safe against the Heatran. It should be able to just spin away the rocks unless he decides to outspeed and explode on me. So that's kind of unfortunate.
So he got bodied again.
I got wrecked the first 5 turns, and there's not much I can do about it at this point. But he does just go back into Machamp, and I really need Rocks Up at this point because his rocks are going to be here to stay. So I was kind of hoping he wouldn't go into Machamp, but I could get my Rocks Up there. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to go straight into my Celebi again and take a Dynamic Punch and once again risk the confusion, which is not terribly fun to say the least, but I am able to get my Leech Seed up this time, and because he doesn't have Heatran anymore, I'm kind of wondering what his answer to Celebi is going to be, and I had already revealed Celebi at that point in the match, so I'm assuming he has something in the back, and here it is, that Tyranitar. I thought it was either going to be this or Scizor to be his next Celebi check slash counter.
What is his answer gonna Celebi?
That was amazing. Anyway, he decides to go for Crunch as I scout for that with a Recover, or I scout for that with a Leech Seed. That was not a scout. That was a terrible play. I disagree with my play there, but I do just go for the Leech Seed on the Crunch turn. I guess predicting the Pursuit on that turn, that's what it was. It was a 50-50. But now I'm going to try to go into my Swampert again, trying to get my dang Rocks Up because I need those Rocks Up badly, and I'm going to take the risk of a confusion here and try to put up Rocks one last time. And thank goodness I am able to break through, get the Rocks Up.
Such a bad player.
I agree. I'm a terrible player. Oh my gosh, shut up, Halu. So unfortunately lose my Swampert here, but the most important task was done in that I got Rocks Up, and now I should be able to have a little bit more fun with the rest of my team. Although I do need to make sure I'm able to weaken the Tyranitar before Celebi can really be very good in this game, and I'm just going to be able to set up a Recover here on the switch out into a
Set up a Recover.
Set up a Recover, yes. And now I'm definitely expecting him to just go for the Rapid Spin, so this should just be a free KO against the Starmie with my Celebi, especially considering this is an offensive Starmie and in no way going to be able to take this Grass Knot. So we're at a 4-4 score here, which is, it's not bad considering how poorly the first 5 turns went for me, but now I'm going to have to be a little bit worried about the Pursuit again with this Tyranitar. I'm going to scout for it here with a Recover, and he just isn't going for Pursuit, which is kind of unfortunate for me because now I'm going to have to stay in and do some damage with Grass Knot, but I managed to get the critical hit here. Now, I do say that probably... it matters immediately, for sure, because now he's not going to be able to take out my Celebi. But the damage was all I really needed to be able to KO this thing with Flygon, with Scizor, with anything else on my party. So as long as I got the damage with Grass Knot there, I wasn't going to be in too much trouble later on, considering the rest of my team does outspeed T-Tar.
Still a bad player.
Okay. Anyway, so T-Tar goes down, and now he's going to go into probably his Dragonite, yeah. And I'm just going to go for the Perish Song here because I don't want him to set up Dragon Dances and be able to have any chance of sweeping my team, and Celebi's not really good for anything else against Dragonite. And with it being this low, it's not really going to be good for anything on his team unless I'm able to get up a free Recover, which is pretty unlikely. So I just go for the Perish Song, and then of course I'm just going to sack my Celebi here. And knowing that my Flygon is Choice Scarfed and can outspeed any Dragonite at +1, I should be able to just go into this here and threaten him with an Outrage, but predicting him to have some sort of switch into Flygon. I am just going to go for the U-turn here. And it turns out to be a Gyarados, which is kind of bad because the last 2 mons on my team are Scizor and Heatran, both of which are setup fodder for Gyarados. So I'm going to use this, or at least attempt to use this to my advantage, and expect him to try to set up a Dragon Dance or go straight for the Waterfall on this turn. I'm just going to go straight back in my Flygon, and as you saw earlier, I am a Thunder Punch variant, so after the Dragon Dance, or if he just went for the Waterfall, I would be able to KO with a Thunder Punch on the following turn. And that's luckily exactly what's going to happen here, and if I was not able to land this KO with Thunder Punch, this probably would not have gone in my favor in the end. But luckily, I'm able to knock it out there, and I'm in pretty good shape. Now here I'm just going to go into my Sizzler, kind of sacking it, don't really need it, and I'm expecting just the Dynamic Punch to do a crap ton of damage, and I'll probably just get confused here, because that's how my luck goes.
Well, of course you get confused.
Of course,
100% confusion.
It really is, though. Like, I think I broke out of confusion one time, maybe 2 times this entire game, and I
No, I mean Dynamic Punch has 100% chance to confuse.
I mean getting hit by confusion, but whatever. Regardless, I'm not going to risk the overheatness here. I'm just going to go for the Dragon Pulse, because I know it should get him down low enough to where either Sand will take him out, or I can just KO the rest of his mons with Flygon. And Sand does take him out here, and now it's just going to be down to Flygon and Dragonite, and obviously Flygon wins this 100% of the time. So that will be the game. It was very close, and I think this was my first Gen 4 match I had played in really a long time, so it was nice to get back into the tier. I really enjoy the tier. It's definitely much more my style than Oras is, considering there's so many wall breakers in Oras, and there really just aren't very many of them in DPP. So that's the game, and I don't know, any other words from the Peanut Gallery?
Let's end it there.
Let's end it there. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back with Styx part shortly.